Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we last uploaded and I'm excited to dive back into the world of Magento 2 with you all. In case you missed our previous videos, we covered the installation process for Magento 2.4.5. That video will still be super useful for anyone looking to install the latest version of Magento as the process is almost identical. You can find the link to that video in the description below. Now, in today's video, we're going to explore some key concepts about Magento 2. Basically, we'll focus on three main points: understanding the Magento 2 directory structure, what is a module in Magento 2, and why they are essential, and how to create a custom module in Magento 2. Also, just a quick note from this point in this series, we'll be working with Magento 2.4.6 P8 version. While the installation process haven't changed much from 2.4.5, the features, security updates, and optimizations in 2.4.6 P8 will help us get most of the video. So if you're ready, let's dive deep into it. So, as the first section, let's understand the directory structure of Magento. So basically, if you look at my PHP storm, so this is the root directory, that is Magento Composer, where we have installed our Magento version. And if you see, there are some subdirectories in this. So let's explore them one by one. So first we see app. So app is one of the core directories. It holds all the application's code, configuration and settings. So if we open the app directory, we have a design folder, we have an etc folder, and we also will be having a code directory over here where basically we will be storing all our custom and third-party modules. So we can actually just create a code directory. Yeah. So code directory contains all the custom and third-party modules. The design directory will hold themes, basically both front end and back end, and the etc directory will hold the configuration files for a Magento instance. So we'll find things like environment env.php or config.php, which holds information like database details and other environment settings. So if you look at the env.php, so here you can see we will have the database details, we'll have the cache details, the admin panel URL, and in config.php we will have information about the modules. So which module is active and which module is disabled. For those configuration, basically we have in config.php. So moving on to the bin directory. Bin, this folder is where Magento's command line tools live. For example, you can run commands like php bin magento list, let's say, to list out all the commands that are present by default in Magento. So we can actually do that. Let's go to the terminal and type php bin magento list. Okay. So yeah. So here you can see all these commands. These are all available by default for us to utilize in our storefront. So there are some commands that we'll be using frequently, like index for reindex. Then we have setup upgrade command, setup di compile command, cache clearing cache, enabling and disabling cache. Yeah, so we will go through these commands whenever we need them in our development environment. Yeah, if you see here, there are commands related to setup. We are already familiar with setup install command that we used when we tried to install Magento. So we have setup static content deploy. So if you see, yeah, setup uninstall, setup upgrade, so setup di compile. So these commands we'll get familiar with when once we progress into this course. So basically bin folder is where the Magento's command line tool lives. Okay. We have generated folder. Generated folder, basically Magento automatically generates files like proxies, factories, and more for the system to work efficiently. So we don't typically need to touch these files directly. So it is automatically created by Magento itself, and it is a good practice to not edit anything directly in these folders. So uh, we also have dev directory, and dev directory is basically contains developer specific tools and files. It contains tests directory, which contains unit and integration test configurations, and even API or setup tests. Then we have tools which have scripts for static content deployment and other tasks. So we have lib directory as well. Lib directory contains core libraries that are used by Magento itself. It has two subdirectories, internal and web. Internal is basically Magento's internal directories. Web includes JavaScript libraries like require.js, jQuery, and other libraries that are being utilized by Magento itself. We have pub directory. Pub directory is publicly accessible web root. It serves as the entry point for the application. So if we open the pub directory, we have a main entry point as index.php. So this is the main entry point for front end and back end requests. And apart from that, we have a media folder and a static folder that we need to look out for. Media folder stores uploaded files such as products, images, and category banners. And static folder have static files like CSS, JavaScript, and images after deployment. So this is about the pub directory. We also have a setup directory. So setup folder contains scripts for installation and upgrade process. It is primarily used when initially setting up Magento. So yeah, we don't usually use this much during the development part, but it's good to know what is the use of setup directory. We also have the where directory. Where directory is used for temporary storage. It has subdirectories like cache, logs, where we store logs, hold cache files for faster loading. Then we also have view preprocessed, which basically preprocessed static files for before deployment. So yeah, we'll get more into this when we progress into development. And last, we have a vendor directory. We all know what vendor directory is. It contains third-party libraries and dependencies installed by Composer. So likewise, like generated folder, we also never change the vendor directory, and changes will be overridden automatically when we upgrade anything, any package by Composer. So this is the overall root structure of Magento, and the most important directory over here that we need to look on is the app code directory, because this is where we'll be actually working more and developing our code. So as you know, we have created a code directory over here, and all our custom code and the third party modules, they will be written in this code directory. So yeah, so this is it. Let's actually look at what basically has we have in a module. So before we know uh, before we talk about modules, we need to know what a module is in Magento, and why Magento follows a modular structure. Okay, so everything we write in a code that belongs to a particular module. And what is a module in Magento? Modules are basically self-contained pieces of functionality, independent, that allow you to extend, customize, or add new features to our store. So we need to think of them as building blocks. Each module will have its own code base, and it will operate independently while integrating seamlessly into our Adobe Commerce ecosystem. For example, if you want to create a custom feature like product of the day widget or add new payment methods, a module is what we'll be using. Magento by default provides lots of out of the box modules. Now, since this is a Composer installation, so we can just check into vendor directory. Then let's traverse to Magento. Yeah, if you see over here, so these are all the modules that are provided by Magento out of the box, which is what keeps the store running. Even if we don't do any code, we can easily add products from the backend, and we can complete the whole checkout process via the front end, login or sign up as a customer or create an account. All the basic functionality that an e-commerce have, Magento have already provided that information to us. So all that logic is being written in this Magento directory, which have different modules. So let's take a look at some of the basic uh, directories of a module. Let's take a look at the module catalog. Yeah. So here, if we look at a module catalog, okay, it has different subdirectories, and some let's go over some of the basic most used directories. So one is controller. Controller will handle HTTP requests. Request response functionality will be handled by the controller. So we all know that. Apart from that, we have model directory. So model directory contains business logic and database interactions. We will have etc directory. etc directory will have configuration files like routes, module.xml, and dependency injection. We'll get to dependency injection in later videos. Then we have block directory. It acts as a bridge between models and view templates. View is basically uh, manages layouts, templates, and static files. Then we have setup directory. It handles database schema and data setup during module installation or upgrade. We have helper directory as well, which will contain reusable logic for various parts of the application. Um, so we have plugins, observers. So these are all the directories that we'll go as we progress. I've just highlighted the basic ones that we will be using mostly. So yeah, I think this gives us a good overview of the directories that is there in Magento, and now we can actually start the development. Uh, we can actually start the development of a custom module in Magento. So let's get into it. Now, as I mentioned, we need to do our code into the app code directory. So here, if you see, I've already created a code, and one of the things that we need to understand is how a module uh, root directory is made. So if you see over here, let's see for module catalog. Okay, so Magento is the vendor, and module catalog is the custom module. So vendor and then a custom module. So that is how the directory structure is. And if we see at the registration.php file, registration.php is one of the important files that we use to basically register a module. So if you see the module name, it is registered as Magento underscore catalog. Magento is the vendor name, and that is Magento because this is the code base of Magento, and catalog is the module name. So this module name is catalog, and that is the directory structure that we will be following as well. So let's create a directory. Okay, so let's create vendor. So for instance, let's create Faizan as a vendor, and I will create a module. Let's name it custom for now. So we have a vendor as Faizan, and we have a module of Faizan that is named as custom. So now we have the directory structure, and let's create some important files that we need to register this module. And like I said, one of the important files that we need in the module is registration.php. So let's create a PHP file, name it registration.php. Okay, and we can just copy this code, paste it here, and now if we rename it would be Faizan underscore custom, because that is what our module name is. And yeah, so this is all that we need basically to register a module. And how we know our module is registered? So it is pretty simple. We have Magento command line to verify. So one of the commands that we have by default by Magento is php bin Magento module status. So module status shows us uh, basically what the status is of module. And if you see over here, so these are all the modules that are enabled, and these are enabled when we install Magento, and these are all enabled modules, all of Magento. Now if you see here, we are getting one error. So let's see here, the contents from etc can't be read. Yeah, this is because apart from registration.php, we also need module.xml, and module.xml is also one of the important files that we need to register a module. So yeah, let's create a module.xml as well, and that is basically a configuration file. So we know configuration file will be in etc directory. We will create an etc directory. We will create a file module.xml. Okay, now we have module.xml. We need to input some data in module.xml. So let's locate this directory that we have from module catalog, and we have etc. So basically we can just, most of the things we can reference from the already provided code base from Magento. That makes it super easy for us to understand things. And I'll just copy this module.xml, paste it over here. Our module name is Faizan custom, Faizan being the vendor name and custom being our module name. This sequence we don't need. We'll get back to it when we actually need it. So let's skip it for now. Yeah, so this is it. We have also created a module.xml file. So these are the two files that are important to register a module. Now let's see if the error is gone. We'll do sudo php bin Magento module status. Yeah, if you see here, the error is gone, and by default the module, whenever we create a new module, it will be disabled by default, and we need to enable it. Okay, these two modules I have disabled during the setup, and this is the module that is being disabled by default from the system because we created it newly, so we need to enable it. So the command is pretty simple: php bin Magento module enable, and which module we need to enable, that is Faizan custom. Yeah, if you see here, the following modules have been enabled. Now if I again check the module status, it should be, if you see, it has been removed from the disabled modules, and here it is mentioned in the list of enabled modules. You can also copy this, and remember I mentioned about config.php. Here you see our Faizan custom module is being added and it is set as 1. So this means our module is enabled. So this is a basic structure of custom module in Magento. This module currently does nothing, and in the upcoming videos we will try to create controllers, models, views, and enhance this custom module further to understand the development process of Magento. As of now, I will wind up this video. So in this video we basically went through the directive structure of Magento. We also went through the directive structure of a module, and we created a custom module which is very basic, does not do anything as of now, but in the upcoming videos we'll enhance this module further and make it more interactive on the storefront. So that's it from this video. Hope you like this video. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.